Welcome back to the Oz Cro Soccer Show. It's our 15th episode this year. Well, it's at the halfway mark almost. We'd love to get to 30 episodes, but folks, in order to do that, we really need your support. We really need club sponsors to jump on board, whether it's a business or whether it's an episode sponsor, i.e. a club, for us to see out the season. It says down the bottom there to see 25 episodes. We'd actually love to get to 30 episodes, like we did last year. But we are struggling and we need sponsors and we need your help. So to contact us now via email at ozcrosoccershow@gmail.com or contact me there on 0402 012 716. Support the show that supports your community. And folks, we will next week be taking a mid-season break. I think a well-deserved break because it has been quite relentless. It's been lots happening. And we hope that we'll be back to see out the season, but it really depends on the clubs out there. It depends on the businesses out there as well. So we really do need your support in a big way. But now it's time for our special guest tonight. It is an absolute pleasure. We know that this man is a regular viewer and tunes in almost every week to our show. So it's an absolute pleasure to have someone who watches the show now finally come on the show as well. And it's a big cheerio to John BILOS, the St Albans Dinamo Vice President. John, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you, boys, and hope you're both doing well.
Very well, mate. Very well. Now, you obviously got the camera on the mirror actually setting because the Dinamo looks like a D, looks like a B. But yeah, we'll go through that. There is a way to sort that out through the settings, but it's don't worry about that, mate. It's been a big year on and off the field. The seniors are struggling at the moment, unfortunately. Let's start off with that. What's going on with the seniors? Let's take a look at the ladder there. But Dinamo at the moment sort of struggling at the moment. Oh, gosh, look at those graphics. Fourth last position.
We're sitting on 16 points. Obviously there's been a transition, with the coaching staff and a lot of players. So, we've building in that stage, I suppose, and we've lost a couple of players, but we've added a couple of signings. So we lost 5 players during the mid-season, well, not the mid-season, but almost end of season transfer window. So we picked up a couple of players, like Ayak Ju, Dina McLeod, James Kuponowski, Yanni Paniakos, and Justin Mikolas. So we picked up a few good, strong players. So hopefully next 5 games we're up and running. And it's important 5 games for us.
Yeah. One of those games could be another Croatian derby against a North Geelong who are really struggling at the moment. And it could come down to that. And ironically, one of the few games that North Geelong has won at North Geelong was against Dinamo. But this game will be at Dinamo. So, look, that could be a crucial game. It's unfortunate that 2 Croatian clubs could be fighting for survival. But that's what it certainly looks like. It may well happen.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. I said at the start of the year, how nice would it be, or how good would it be to have the 4 clubs in the NPL, North Geelong, Dinamo, Knights, and Dandy City. The Greeks can do it. Why can't the Croatians do it? So there's still hope for us. Yeah. So it's
Absolutely.
Still like I said, big 5 games coming, and hopefully we're all there together next year.
Tell us, John, where's the good news around the club? How are the juniors going? How's all the other teams going? Is there some good news stories?
Yeah, of course. We've got some. Obviously, we're in the NPL and we're in a couple of different divisions. But our under 14s are first at the moment in Divi 2, which is awesome. We've got under 15s 7th at the moment. 16s are 5th, and we've got 18s in 7th. So. We're doing okay. Have we got improvement in us in our club? We certainly do. So, but we've got all faith in our coaches, in our coaching staff, and hopefully they can build on that next year, which will be fantastic.
There's a graphic there of the junior boys in the NPL on the weekend, just gone by. The 14s defeating Melbourne Knights, sister club 3-1, and then in the 15s also defeating the Knights 1-0. In the under-16s, it was a 2-1 loss to Green Gully, and in the under-18s, a 2-1 loss to Green Gully. But to the left there, we can see the senior women. Round 11 clash. They came up against bottom side Hoppers Crossing. That's in Women's State League 2. And a good result there sees Dinamo with a 6-0 thumping. And there's the ladder after 11 rounds. Dinamo in 4th position. It's the top 2 that get promoted. So, look, they're within striking distance without a doubt. How are the ladies going? We don't seem to hear too much about the women's team of St Albans Dinamo these days, but they were in State League 1. Was it last year? And then unable to field a reserves team. Was that the reason why they dropped down to Division 2?
Yeah, unfortunately, COVID had an effect on the club, and the girls were doing wonderful things. And in State 1, we had a Redsies team going, and it was all going really well. COVID hit, and then we had a few changes, unfortunately. But back on track, we've got again a good coaching staff with Tommy Pondoliak taking the realm with Ilya Rados and Shaka. So the coaching staff is up there with the best. I speak to Tommy, and I'm 50, and he makes me want to put on the soccer boots. Yeah, so he's certainly a motivator. Yeah. But it's awesome for our girls to have someone with his experience.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. Giving back to Dinamo, and his local club.
Yeah, Tommy's fantastic. Obviously, such a great sort of career in the NSL and obviously in A-League as well, and made so many grand finals everywhere he went. So success follows him. So that's great for you to have him there. And of course, he's in your Hall of Fame in the clubhouse as well, isn't he?
That's right. Great bloke. He's always at the bar having a drink, wanting to share to everyone, always having a good chat. Leads by example, which is fantastic, and is a real credit to have at our club.
Now, speaking of Tommy Pondoliak, if last week's show, last week's Geelong Game of Two Halves show, one of our sister podcasts, we had Andy Pascalides talking about the heartbeat of football activations coming up in Victoria. Now, if go on to Andy Pascalides' Facebook page, and he's done his roving report with yourself, John, as well. But he's also been hunting Tommy Pondoliak in the club rooms. It makes for very entertaining viewing as well. He's gone upstairs to where all the old blokes are as well, the VIP stand. Andy Pascalides was there on Friday night. With he's a bit of a joker. He loves to have a bit of a laugh, and is the life of the party. But he had a very, very serious message to deliver to the Croatian community and to the St Albans faithful. Tell us a bit more about the heartbeat of football activation that was held at Dinamo last Friday.
Yeah, awesome initiative, and thanks to the show, we found out about the heartbeat of football on this show. So I sent a message online, and Andy responded saying, "Yeah, you can contact us on this email address," and basically we went from there. And it was also fitting that North Geelong and the Knights had the heartbeat of football there on Sunday. So we had probably 70 tests before probably 2 hours in, and I was one of the people to get tested. And guess what? Yeah, blood pressure. Sugar and cholesterol was fine, but blood pressure's up. So it's great that we had a lot of people tested, but it's also really important that people do something about it after the test. So you know that you've got something wrong, but then there I am on the right there. So it's really important that we go to doctors and see what they can do to help us now. So if we can save one life across the Croatian community with North Geelong and us doing that, it's certainly money and time well worth it.
Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. I've seen him grow. From the initial stages and having the idea and then developing it, and for him to be in the community and be able to come down to Melbourne and do these sorts of things are fantastic. And as you say, I had a bit of a blood pressure thing, just a tiny raise as well, John. So you and me both. It must be working with Taunchy or something. I don't know.
Yeah, possibly. Andy was trying to get me to have a test, and I actually wanted to. I actually needed to because I think I've got issues as well. But between commentating on Sunday, the Melbourne Knights and North Geelong game, I wasn't able to. I know that sounds like an excuse, but I've had cholesterol issues in the past. But you know what? Between the Dietza and dealing with people in the soccer community, how am I not going to have high blood pressure and cholesterol? But
if they had tested us at half time after the game, I'm sure it would have a bit of hospital there, so.
Oh, mate, tell me about it. Tell me about it. But look, it was a great, and look, one of the things, speaking to Andy, and there's a short interview on the Game of Two Halves podcast, and it was also aired on Sunday night on the Football Out West Show podcast. So you can go over to the YouTube channels. It only goes for about 3 minutes, those interviews. But there was the question that I posed to Andy was, look, we're dealing with a demographic, and our community's like that. Most of the blokes are very proud, are very stubborn, and don't want to sort of stick your fingers and avoid it and it'll go away type of thing. But it is changing a little bit. And I asked Andy, is it changing? And he goes, yeah, look, it is changing because unfortunately we've had a lot of bad issues. A lot of over the last few decades, we've had a lot of the first generation who thought that they were invincible, and let's understand the diet of our community hasn't always been the best. But as you said, underneath all that joking and all of that, it's a serious message, isn't it?
Yeah, we're getting older. 50s plus.
Speak for yourself. Yeah.
We need to probably get health checks every year. So let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, it's great. It's fabulous that you acted on that, John. Just wanted to check, for people outside of the Dinamo sort of club. I mean, tell us a bit about how you got involved with the club. Why did you get involved in the committee? How long you've been around the club, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, well, it goes back to the 90s. I had a stint in the Resis for 1 year. And then I thought soccer was finished for me, but my daughter started playing soccer. So it's probably been about 10 years. I've been back at the club in a sort of formal manner. Whether a team manager, the last probably 6 years I've been in the committee, from chairman, secretary to vice president for the last couple of years. So it's a hard gig. Do we have enough committee members? Probably not, like every other club. But we do a lot. And we're probably about above our weight in some cases with regards to the numbers that we have. But we have an awesome committee here. We've got 4 female committee members this year and probably last year as well. So where we had 1 previously. So we're building in that aspect as well. But we're doing everything we can off the field really well. We just need to get the on the field part right, and we'll be a even better club.
Now, speaking of off-field, some of the things that are really, really moving in a positive direction is let's talk about one of them, Football Australia Game Changer accreditation. Dinamo is one of not many clubs in Victoria, but certainly not many of the Croatian clubs that have got that Game Changer accreditation. And I may stand to be corrected on this one. And if I am wrong, please do say in the comments section if there are other Croatian clubs that have received this accreditation. But mate, you were heavily involved in this. What does it exactly mean for a club like Dinamo to have that Game Changer accreditation?
Yeah, it's actually called it's actually changed to Club Changer program, which is we have got a close relationship with Football Victoria, and in particular Josephine Lapila. She's a development program manager at FV. So she got in touch with the club. We had a meeting, and basically was looking at how we could build something with our girls program, our women's program. We had to create an action plan, and there's 7 job points to that plan, which we probably wouldn't do if we didn't have their help. But yeah, our aim is to basically increase the girls' participation at our club, increase leadership opportunities for our senior women, and increase obviously player grassroots from start to finish. There's some ideas that I wouldn't have thought of, and the committee wouldn't have thought of. But it's also about not only the players, but it's about the mums that are involved with the clubs. How can we get them more engaged? And there's things that we can do with regards to maybe yoga sessions upstairs in a members section. They can have maybe a walking group. You hear mums playing or training, to keep fit. So there's a lot of things that we can do for our women, our mums that are out there, and this is a way that they can help us do so, basically.
Phenomenal, brilliant.
Absolutely. The growth of women's football is just absolutely magnificent, and obviously it's a key to a lot of the future of Croatian clubs as well. As we've seen, I think we've mentioned a few times now, Sam Kerr used to play over the Western Knights, and the big build-up, I don't know about over in Victoria, but here for the Matildas is absolutely getting massive, and Australia always put on a good football tournament. I'm sure over the next month, even more girls are going to get interested in football after the Women's World Cup as well.
Yeah. John, with regards to that, we just started talking about the Women's World Cup that Ante just mentioned. Dinamo has been selected as one of the few clubs in Victoria to actually be involved in the flag bearing ceremony. Tell us a bit more about that. That's fantastic recognition for an Australian Croatian community club. Well done.
Yeah, that's awesome. Makes me really proud of being involved, and that again was part of that club changer. So we had to apply online. So we got a link from Football Australia. We had to go online and apply to why we think that our girls should represent, Victoria, Football Australia, Football Victoria, Dinamo, our Croatian community. So there was a short survey. You had to, I think it was a 150-word little note that you had to provide on each girl, stating why we think that they should be a flag bearer at the Matildas World Cup. Mm-hmm. And we did so, and luckily enough, we were we got the gig. So the girls will be doing the round of 16 match at Amy Park. I think it's on the 6th or 8th of August, I think it is.
That's awesome. And how many of them have been selected from Dinamo?
Yeah. So six girls in our under 14.
Let's go through the names. Let's give them a public what's the word in Croatian? You call it hvalospjev, praise. Is that right? Yeah. Let's sing their praises. Who are the young lasses?
One is Caitlin, so my daughter Caitlin BILOS, obviously.
Yeah.
So she's got to be in there. Isabella De Bono, again, one of our Donna's in our committee. So Donna's daughter Isabel. Mm-hmm. We've got Summer Hanula, who's in our under 14s group.
Fantastic.
Ava Zane, again, they're all in our under 14s group. We've got Marta Smolic, mm-hmm. As well, and Sierra Kvesic, who used to be in Geelong. They had a little bit of a move to Geelong, and they're back in Melbourne. So Stan or Stanko is the under 14s coach, so his daughter as well.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
That is fantastic. Great. Well done to those girls. That is absolutely fantastic, and
great advertisement for the club. And it's very special to be such a big, huge tournament. And obviously, the girls will never forget it. So that'll be absolutely magnificent.
Yeah, no, speaking to some of the girls, are really excited. And I'd be excited to do it myself.
Of course. It is folks. It is a World Cup, isn't it? It is a World Cup. And
it's huge. When it starts, people will realise how big it is.
Yeah. And the
only thing we're disappointed is Croatia aren't there.
That's exactly right. But John, I don't know about what you think, but to me, I've been a bit disappointed down here in Victoria. It hasn't been the pomp, the ceremony, the all of that hasn't been there. But it is picking up. And look, I think as it gets closer, because Victorian mainstream sports media are very renowned for jumping on the bandwagon. And as soon as the Matildas either bomb out or, have a bad performance, then they'll jump back to their normal AFL and what you're not. But the fact that, and we mentioned this on one of the other podcasts, I think 70% of tickets have already been sold. And if Brenton Ray, he's not Croatian, but he tunes in and watches the Oz Cro Soccer Show. He's not a paid journalist, but he does that much work behind the scenes down in Victoria. Is unbelievable. He had a comment that something like 70% of tickets have already been sold out. All the Matildas games, all the semi-finals and finals games have already been sold out. So with that limited media exposure, that is an incredible achievement. Just huge. I don't know about you, Ante, and the NRL up there, but I tell you, the AFL down here is secretly absolutely crapping itself, and they have been for years.
the first match is sold out. Obviously, if you haven't heard, 82,000 people
Mm-hmm.
on a Thursday night are going to come out and watch the Matildas. Obviously, there was an article the other day about on the same night, Rugby League got a match and the Ashes have got a match. And they're estimating 3.5 to 4 million people to be tuning into that Matildas game. So it's absolutely going to be massive and crush everything else. So it's absolutely huge.
Fantastic.
But I wanted to ask John, there's been talk about the second division. Obviously, Melbourne Knights have been involved and a couple of other clubs in NPL Victoria. Do you think that, if that second division actually happens, will that help your club? Will that hinder your club? Or do you know the makeup of the NPL once that happens, or you guys just don't know at this stage?
Oh, look, it could be a great thing. It's like the NSL day, so it could be awesome for the Knights, and they belong there. There's no doubt about it. The only concern for us is financially, and I think there's been some questions raised about that and whether it's going to be sustainable. I'm hearing that you need to have $2 million in the bank or something or other. So it's we as a community, I suppose, my dad used to go to Melbourne Knights or Melbourne Croatia those days, and then he'd be going to watch Dinamo. But the whole family would go. It'll be an outing, yeah. We wouldn't go to Dalesford and have coffee there. We'd be going to Olympic Park, ground number 2, watching Melbourne Croatia, and then watching Dinamo later on.
Yeah.
So those crowds really need to come back. For this to be sustainable, we need to get those crowds back. And is that going to happen? It's really a tough question. But for us, we'd embrace it. I mean, NPL. Where do you go from NPL into the A League? It's very difficult. I think we saw one player go to Brisbane last year from Oakley. But apart from that, where do our NPL players go? But this could be a stepping block for that. And then the A League. So it could be exciting, but like I said, it's just that financial aspect that I'm sort of worried about a little bit.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of unanswered questions, that's for sure. John, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on our show. St Albans Dinamo have been a big supporter of our program, and not just this year, but in previous years as well. So do pass on our regards to the president there, Ilya Dragicic, and the rest of the crew. Wishing you all the very best, and particularly in the battle for NPL survival. As you said, let's get all 4 Croatian clubs, and Ivica Petrlic made a comment, or Brenton Ray actually says Eastern Lions lost last night 3-0. So there you go. So that's the latest news as well. So Dandenong City certainly looking good to secure one of those 2 promotion spots. Now it's up to the Croatian clubs in the NPL to save their skins, and next year we'll have 4 Croatian clubs in the NPL. How good would that be?
That'll be fantastic. Just a quick one. Just it's Baba BILOS' birthday today, so she probably think. So Sretan Drođen Dana Baba. Yeah, we love you.
Good. I don't know how old is Baba BILOS?
Yeah, Baba BILOS is 83 today.
Oh, well done.
Oh, wow.
Great stuff.
He's done really well, which is awesome.
Happy birthday.
You've got to go over and eat some kolac, John. You've got to go over quick.
Maybe a few rakias after this, huh?
Yeah. Why not? Well, and then we wonder why pressure and cholesterol and what you're not. But it's if we're going to go with a smile on our face. Mate, all the very best. And once again, and thank you for joining us on the show.
Thanks, gents, and you've done a really fantastic job. So keep up the great work. It's awesome. You guys know I watch us weekly. So keep up the great work. You're doing a great job.
Thanks, mate. All the best.
Really
you've got a bit of a fan club happening there. Jure Andrea, another Jure Dragovic, who has a Wednesday night a radio show down in Melbourne. He says, "Bravo, Johnny." Ivica Petrlic says, "Legend at the club." And Danny Utrisha, who can forget Danny Utrisha? John BILOS, what a legend. So you've got a lot of supporters there tuning in tonight.
They're being too kind.
Good on you, mate. All the very, very best.
Thank you.